Fantasy Rap
with Austin and Ozzy.
Oh, I just love those boys.
Hey everyone, this is Fantasy Rap, and I'm your host Ozzy.
And I'm your co-host Austin.
You can find us on fantasyrap.com. That is fantasywrap.com. Hey everybody, welcome to week 3 of the fantasy and NFL season. We are going to start off with P's Picks. Hey everybody, welcome to P's Picks. Hi Sutton. How are you? Are you happy?
Can you use some words?
Can you say hi everyone? So today we have from last night's game, we've got the New England Patriots and we've got the New York Jets. And I am going to let you choose who we're going to talk about this week. Who do you think? You want us to talk about the Patriots? Okay,
All right.
We will talk about the Patriots. Can you look up and say thank you?
Thank you.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And you just saw Sutton. She decided to choose the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the Patriots. First of all, it wasn't a very good game. Patriots were never really in it.
Yep.
And Rodgers actually looked good. Breece Hall looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Lazard looked good. Conklin looked good. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jacoby Brissett. He was 12 of 18 for 98 yards, rushed 5 times for... No, that's not him. Didn't rush.
Didn't rush.
They brought in Drake May at the end. Drake May has a ways to go before he's going to be a starting quarterback. He didn't look very good. Brissett didn't look very good. Very good. The Jets' defense was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Gibson was 3 catches on 3 targets for 8 yards, 5 rushes, 29 yards. Again, I mean, there wasn't much going around.
Yeah.
Stevenson was 0 catches on 0 targets, 6 rushes, 23 yards. You're seeing a pattern here. I mean, they just...
I mean, I'll take it because I'm playing against Stevenson this week. Our good friend Nick, didn't have any other option. Started him. He was his RB2. And Stevenson had been having the first 2 weeks was the guy there and getting some targets too. So it was odd to see him not have any targets,
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it was just an odd game.
Mm-hmm.
Douglas was their only receiver. He had 7 catches on 9 targets for 69 yards. And most of that was after it was like 24-3 already.
Yeah.
So it was not much of an I mean, it was an offensive game. I was offended watching it.
Yeah.
And then last we had Hooper, who had 1 catch on 4 targets for 89 yards.
In 19 yards.
19 yards.
Yeah,
What did I say?
One catch for 89 yards is pretty dang good.
19 yards. I don't,
It's been a long day.
it has been a long day.
So if you were chasing Hunter Henry after he put up 108, it was 108 or 109 yards last week, you were you're sorely disappointed and probably put you in a pretty rough spot to try and carve out a win this week.
Right.
So
And it's surprising, it's just surprising when things change so dramatically.
Yeah.
It's
like the one thing, the 2 things that were working for the Patriots was Ramondre Stevenson and last week Hunter Henry. And they were, now we're going to try something else against the Jets.
I don't even know if they tried anything else. I mean, they put up maybe 150 yards of offense, total offense. It was just not a good game.
Yeah.
So that's what Sutton wanted us to talk about, and that's what we talked about. So we're going to go on to our picks of the week. And for a standard scoring league, the top 6 quarterbacks are Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Kyler, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, and Lamar Jackson. I don't, I like those.
Yeah. So I have Jaden Daniels in my Yahoo League, the redraft. I actually just picked up Derek Carr to play him in place of Jaden Daniels because Carr has been playing. Obviously, the Saints have been playing really well.
They have.
And it's another plus matchup for them. Daniels, obviously, a little bit down last week compared to his big week one because he had the 2 rushing touchdowns and he had like 80 yards rushing. And this last week he looked like he made it more of an effort to try and stay in the pocket longer and throw, and go through his progression instead of just seeing his his first read covered up and then running. So
Well, that's kind of what Drake May was doing last
Yeah.
night. I mean, he would.
that Patriots line is horrible.
Well,
so,
but I mean, he looked, and then he was like, "I better run with it. I better run with it." And yeah, I heard a stat or saw a stat on one of the games that I think the rookie quarterbacks thus far have thrown 198 passes, and they have 0 touchdowns.
yeah, I was listening to a podcast and they said J.J. McCarthy is tied for
Right. The league lead for
league
rookies.
lead for rookie touchdowns.
Yeah.
Thrown.
which is kind of concerning because there are 3 starters
Yeah,
in Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Michael Penix.
well, he
No,
doesn't play.
no, Bo Nix.
Bo Nix,
Sorry,
yes.
Bo
yes.
Nix.
There's an X in there.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
So,
I'm tired.
yeah.
Bo Nix,
Yep.
and none of them have a touchdown pass.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
It's interesting. So I mean, no one should be. You have teams out there that go, "Oh, my quarterback isn't doing well." Well, he's a rookie, and he's doing as well as the other rookies.
It's true.
You have no touchdowns.
Yep.
So my pick is Mahomes versus Atlanta.
Should be a good game. I think Atlanta, Kirk Cousins looked a little bit more comfortable out there. Was moving around a little bit more. Atlanta's defense isn't the best, but they're not horrible. So,
Right.
Could end up being a pretty decent game.
Well, and with Pacheco out, and they just and obviously the with Debo out, or excuse me, with who else are they missing?
Well, they got Pacheco out, and I think that's... Well,
that
Hollywood
it?
Brown is still... He
Oh,
hasn't
yeah,
played
Hollywood
it all
Brown's-
yet, but, yeah,
Right.
he's been out.
Right.
So
So it'll be interesting to see if I doubt they'll have a whole lot of a running game.
yeah, like we said earlier, in the last episode, in quotations, running through the air,
Right.
a lot of short passes, probably a lot of sweeps to McKinney. I want to say McKinney again, but Worthy.
Yep.
That darn Xavier first name always gets me mixed up. But through Worthy and then Rasheed Rice too, I think will still
Right.
be pretty heavily targeted, and
Yeah.
he might see a carry or two as well.
Right.
Yep. So my start of the week, he's been playing not too well so far, and it's Jared Goff.
I know I have him in my longtime league.
Yeah, and he was, for me, there's 2 quarterbacks that I wanted to get in the Yahoo and the redraft league, and that was number 1 was Kyler. Missed him, so then I think it was like the next round after Kyler went, I got Daniels because of the rushing upside. So, and then if I missed out on Daniels, I was going to wait until the end and get Goff because he had the beautiful start to the season.
Right.
He's inside the whole time, which is like his thing, is that when he's in a dome, he plays really, really well. But he just hasn't come through yet. So, and I think this week against Arizona, I think that's the highest point total projected.
Oh, okay.
Just for the game, not for fantasy
Yep.
purposes.
So the over-under is the highest.
over-under is the highest. That's what I was looking for. Is the highest because Arizona's come out and, almost beat Buffalo. They came out, put the whooping on the Rams last week.
Yep.
And if the Lions come out and they're slow on offense, and the Lions defense hasn't. Hutchinson has been ridiculously
Yeah.
good, But the rest of that defense, their defensive backfield is still a little iffy. If the lines come out, that offense comes out flat, they could find themselves in a pretty tight spot.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
So moving on to our running backs, we've got HN, Barkley, Jordan Mason, JT, Bijan, and Gibbs. And I am going to ride the hot hand, Alvin Kamara.
White hot hand.
Huh?
White hot.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara versus Philadelphia. Philadelphia. I mean, showing my true colors. Josh Jacobs gouged them.
Yep.
I see Kamara continuing what he was not to the same gaudy numbers, although anything's possible. Philadelphia has not looked that good.
No, yeah, their defense has been bad, and even last year they were like the number one, or they were the worst against the pass last season for fantasy. So you would look to exploit that matchup, and Kamara, as we know, is a very good receiving option out of the backfield.
I mean, we've seen him catch 10, 12 balls.
Yeah. And, and they still have, like we said earlier, Shaheed, Derek Carr's going to take a couple shots with Shaheed.
Yep.
And then you got Olave running the intermediate. I mean, I think Philly's going to have a tough time. That's why I picked up Derek Carr to start over. I think Daniels actually is maybe going to struggle a little bit this week because Cincy's defense has actually looked pretty good. So, but I think he should have a very nice game. So. And then my start of the week is Tony Pollard, Green Bay versus Green Bay.
There's a surprise.
Yeah.
Green Bay really hasn't stopped the run yet.
Nope, still a run funnel defense. GT did end up having over 100 yards, even though for some reason Indy pretty much, it was almost like they benched him in that game. Like he didn't play a whole lot in the fourth, which was odd, but Pollard has been the main back there. He's been their workhorse guy. And
Tajay Spears is injured.
Yep, he's banged up, so even if he plays, it'd probably be in a limited fashion.
Right.
And if he misses, everything's going to Pollard.
Right.
And I'm excited because you also have him on on my Yahoo team.
Gotcha.
So,
well, and that's why I kind of chose Kamara. I've got him on 2 of my leagues. So.
Putting good vibes out there.
Yep. Well, and I'm glad you chose Goff because I've got him in
There
one
you
of my leagues. So moving on to the wide receivers, we've got CeeDee Lamb, we've got Justin Jefferson, we've got Mike Evans, we've got Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamar Chase.
Yep.
So I am going to pair up my wide receiver with my quarterback, which
For somebody,
I don't.
For somebody who said you don't like doing that, you sure do it a lot in our picks here.
But I do it in our picks. I don't do it on any of my teams. So I'm going Rashee Rice.
Yep.
And I think, like I said, without a running game, Rashee Rice might run a couple.
Yep.
Rashee Rice is going to see a lot of passes thrown his way.
Yeah, he was like kind of the lone bright spot last week against Cincy too, where he was really about the only one actually.
Kelsey
doing
did
any damage.
nothing.
Yep. Pacheco obviously ended up getting hurt, but Rice is their number one, and Hollywood, like we just said, is still out, and Worthy wasn't really that involved last week.
No.
So they're just gonna. Yeah, I think Rice is gonna.
Kelsey hopefully will get back
out of
to
necessity,
it.
I think.
Right.
I think he will be a little more involved.
I feel sorry for the Kelsey owners, but it's another reason why I stayed away from him this year. It's
this year specifically was, last year was okay. You could justify, but this year was the really, if you wanted to gamble, that's a big gamble. So.
Right.
My start of the week, Debo out, CMC out. I'm going Brandon Ayuk. I think this is the week he gets it figured out. They're playing LA, so I think if he's gonna have a big game, it's probably going to have to be early. I believe that's why they have Jordan Mason ranked, as the third ranked running back this week.
Now, what I also heard was Kittle's injured.
He's always nicked up and banged up.
Yeah, but I heard I don't remember if he was out or he's questionable.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the interesting thing is that
He's the number
they've
one.
they've got him listed as the number one tight end,
Yeah.
but I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Unless
so
he's-
if Kittle's out, this is going to be a Jordan Mason 40 carry game. But then they've got, like, I picked up Juwan Jennings just to
Right.
throw on my bench as a let's see what happens kind of thing. So Ayuk is the guy, and now this is the third weekend, and I know obviously wasn't there for training camp and preseason,
Right.
'cause he was,
But he should start
I think,
coming around.
Yeah, and a pretty easy matchup against LA should help him gain a little confidence, and I think if he catches a touchdown this week, he'll be pretty happy. So.
Yep. Moving on to our tight ends, we've got the aforementioned Kittle, we've got McBride, Laporta, Gesicki, Kelsey, and Likely. And Likely disappeared last week. Kelsey disappeared last week.
Yep.
Gesicki had a big game.
Yeah, but
Laporta disappeared.
we were just talking with Kittle being potentially injured and out. Gesicki's banged up as well, and he's questionable right now. Obviously, you got T. Higgins still questionable, so
Well, he's saying he's going to play.
I hope so, because I've got him. I had to pick up Yoshi Voss as well. Just throw him on my bench. That way, if Higgins sits, I can throw him in
Right.
last second. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went with Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to pass up on.
He's looked.
That
he's
talent.
looked really, really good.
Yeah, and they're going against Carolina, and
Yeah.
Carolina is pathetic. And I see him having a big game.
Mm-hmm.
I see them continuing to utilize his fantastic route running and hands.
Yeah, and it's Devontae and it's Bowers.
Right.
You see Meyer, however you pronounce it, out there a couple times, but he's more of a blocking tight end. You're not seeing too many routes run out of him. So, Bowers. I think with the tight end landscape that's going on right now, for my own sanity, I hope Andrews figures it out and gets, he's still working his way back too as well.
Right.
But McBride last week looked really good, and he showed up, in the stat sheet for fantasy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bowers I could see him being a top 5, top 4 fantasy tight end this season, just with so far how it's going.
Yeah,
So-
right. It's been a really weird tight end season so far.
And this was like the one where everybody's like, "Oh, tight ends are back."
Yeah,
it's not Kelsey and then a bunch of who knows,
Right. It's just a bunch of who knows.
Yeah. Now it's truly.
And it's an Isaiah Likely starting off big, and
Yeah.
it's not the guys that you'd think that would have we talked about it. Hunter Henry having the big
Yep.
week. Guys that you wouldn't necessarily expect having big weeks, having the big weeks, and the guys that you expect having the big weeks not having performed yet.
Yep. So, I really, and again, Carolina. And who knows? Andy Dalton could come in, and it could be a little more competitive, and they have to keep throwing, and that's more targets,
Right. And I
potentially
actually
Bowers.
think that's kind of what my expectation is. I'm in a survivor pool.
Yep.
And I don't think it was the first week, but the second week I went with a team that played against Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at that game this week and I thought to myself, I can't say for sure that Carolina doesn't, have an upset.
Could be a bit of a trap.
Yeah. And I was not going to get caught in that.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I steered clear.
Yep. With the disappearance of Likely over, from week 1 to week 2, and then Andrews being a little more involved last week, I'm going Mark Andrews. It's against Dallas. Dallas's defense just got obliterated by Derek Carr. So if Derek Carr can do that, I think they're going to have a tough time. They're going to be trying to focus on containing Lamar, which, hopefully leaves Andrews open. And again, like I said, he's working back from, the injury last season, and then he was in a car accident like the month before,
Right.
The season started. So he's still working his way back. He did look pretty good, and he's been out there though. He's out there 98% of the time. So I just need Lamar to remember, oh yeah, I've got one of the better tight ends in the game now.
But he's constantly seen Zay Jones
Yeah.
fly across the middle
or
and
Flowers.
Zay Flowers, sorry, Zay Flowers across the middle
Yep.
and wide open and the speed and he's like we've said he's got that twitch that can get him in the end zone
Yep.
on just about any play. So do you hit the slow lumbering guy, or do you hit the guy that can turn it on?
Yeah. So we'll see.
So let's move on to our love 'em, flip 'em, leave 'em segment. Yeah, I figured you'd like this.
Yeah.
So I chose three running backs.
One of these names is not like the others, but
Well, but they're all injured.
In this context, yes.
Oh, right. But they're all injured. So I threw out McCaffrey, Chubb, and Brooks. And like I said, the reason I did it was all three of them are injured. All three of them are out until at least week 5 or 6. Who has the most upside coming back? Is it McCaffrey? Well, Chubb's. Well, okay. So you've got Achilles tendonitis,
Yep.
which could bother him the whole year, and we've got 2 returns from ACL.
Yeah. Chubb busted up his ACL?
I thought he was an ACL guy.
No, I thought Chubb was fine. Yeah, I can look it up real quick because it's gonna bug me if we don't.
Chubb was out. Am I thinking of the wrong guy?
You're thinking of Nick Chubb, right? Is
Yeah.
that who you're thinking of,
Yeah.
Chubb? Oh, sorry, my bad. For some reason, I was thinking Chuba.
No.
My bad.
No. Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, like we said, it's been a long day.
Yeah. And, and we're both on child duty,
Yes.
so
yeah.
so McCaffrey, Chubb, and Brooks. So we've got
Yeah.
2 ACLs and we've got a Achilles tendonitis.
Yep.
So it's who do you feel most comfortable with? I mean, obviously the big name is McCaffrey,
Yes.
but in my mind, Brooks may have the easiest time coming into
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably be. I mean, I think he's back next week potentially. If he is, it'll probably take him
Well, it
another.
can't be next week.
I thought it was 4 weeks out.
Yeah,
Yeah. This
next week is only week 4.
Okay, so week after.
Yeah.
So
The earliest
good-
any of them
gotcha,
can come
yeah.
back. Well,
That makes sense.
Week 5,
Yep.
week 5, and week 6,
Yes,
I believe,
that
for
makes sense.
McCaffrey.
Yeah. Brooks. I mean, he's got really the. Well, even if I was gonna say easiest path to
Playing
pretty much
time.
immediately coming in and starting, even,
Right.
Because Chuba, who I thought we were talking about, has looked bad because
Right.
the Panthers' offense has been horrible.
Right, and now that may change.
It may,
And that's why,
it will probably improve a little bit,
Right.
But and then Chubb. I mean, Jerome Ford hasn't really been that great.
No, in fact, he's
Deonta Foreman
a
came
fade
in.
this right. He's
Yeah.
I've seen him as a fade mainly because Deonta Foreman was
he came
actually
in.
playing better.
Foreman got quite a few carries.
Right,
So,
more so than
so you could say if Chubb comes back and even if he's 85% of what he was, last year before he got injured for week 1, and then the year before,
Yeah, he looked great part of week 1.
and then, but again, like Brooks and Chubb have some pretty clear, easy paths
Right.
to coming back and immediately being
McCaffrey does
Well,
too
yes,
because
but
it's
Mason has been
McCaffrey.
playing so
Right.
well that
So do you ease him back? Do you split the workload?
I think they will with McCaffrey. I mean, that was part of the reason last season with Travis Kelce towards the end was they were trying to save him because they knew they were the playoffs probably make a run, which they did to
Right.
keep him fresh because Kelce's not NFL terms a young guy anymore.
There's no spring chicken.
Yeah, and same with McCaffrey, really.
Right.
I mean, the mileage on McCaffrey is insane.
Right.
So, if I was San Francisco in the football sense, I would want to protect him, as much as possible. And it keeps him fresh, too. You're not giving him 25, 30 touches a game. You split those between, if he gets 15 carries or touches and Mason gets 15,
Yeah.
I mean, and then you get Debo back healthy and Ayuk coming along. And
So looking at that, you're saying you flip McCaffrey. Because McCaffrey's the biggest potential. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
you'll
the biggest
get-
name. He's the biggest upside. He's
unless you find somebody who's big on either the other two guys too. That guys like, oh, Nick Chubb has done it once, he can do it again because he's I mean, we all have seen the video of him squatting like 800 pounds, and then Brooks is the young guy coming from Texas, I believe, and was taking the first running back for
Right.
a reason.
right.
But again, working back into that injury, so I mean, McCaffrey he's gonna be your biggest value. I mean, you're gonna get the most return for him even now.
Right.
So,
Right.
Because it's CMC. I mean, you're
Right.
trying to.
Well, yeah, but
shopping,
mine's
yes.
in Dynasty.
Yes. But,
I mean, I wouldn't be. I don't think I'd be trying to trade him in redraft.
yeah.
I mean, maybe I would. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on how your roster turned out. When you had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
If your roster, if he was your linchpin for your roster and you're missing him, you got to make a hard call. And
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
tendinitis
I'm-
thing going on, in redraft, if I was in that situation, I'd be looking to trade him. But
Yeah. And out of this group, I think I would trade him because he probably brings the biggest return. The other two have no history over the last year, really.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
do you keep? So if you flip McCaffrey,
McCaffrey.
who are you keeping?
I think it's tough. That's tough between Nick Chubb and Jonathan Brooks.
I'm keeping Brooks.
I would too, and it's really close.
It is.
It's
It is
really, really close.
But he can step in day one
Yep.
without. There's no question. It's his job.
Yeah. Yep.
And Chuba is trying to keep it warm for him.
Yep. Yeah.
In my mind.
And Miles Sanders is that.
Miles who?
That
Colonel
career is-
Colonel
Colonel
Sanders.
Sanders. Yeah.
$5.
All however many secret herbs and spices, just run out of them. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think you gotta love Brooks, the youth. I mean, he's gonna bounce back probably a lot easier and better,
Right.
than Nick Chubb, who
Chubb's
has
second.
a lot of mileage and now 2 major injuries to that knee.
Right.
So it scares me a little bit. I don't think there's anybody out there that hates Nick Chubb because he is like he reminds me of like old school running backs.
Yeah.
Just downhill. I'm gonna meet you at the at the point of contact. We're gonna hit.
You're gonna go backwards.
Yep.
I'm gonna kind of stand up and then I'm gonna keep going.
Yep. Yeah. He's just
Yeah.
nobody hates Nick Chubb, but that knee just scares me.
Right.
But that's the thing with Brooks too, though, is the Panthers organization scares me too.
Oh
But,
yeah. I don't disagree with you there, but I don't think they're going to necessarily rush him back.
Yeah.
I mean, you used what was it, a second round pick on him?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So are you going to have wasted a second round pick to rush him back?
Well, the way it looks right now, they wasted the number.
Well, yeah, agreed.
Well,
Point
with
taken.
Bryce Young, he needs to be worked on and fixed off the field. They can't just keep. I agree with what they're doing, in that sense, getting him off the field, not just figure it out, and then
Right.
then you have a Baker or a Johnny Manziel situation where it was just figure it out, and it's been 3 years now, and you
haven't
look
figured it
horrible.
out.
You haven't figured it out.
Good training.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now Baker looks awesome.
Yeah.
So, but
Yep.
yeah. So.
Well, that's all we've got for this week.
Yep.
Hope you enjoy what we provide.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got any questions, send us an email. Otherwise, I'm Ozzy.
And I'm Austin.
Have a great week.
Good night.